And we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, things are getting really, really wild regarding the Epstein files. I mean, we don't know where is it going to end. And that's, I think, the most interesting thing, because every day you're starting to see more and more attempts from the current administration in the United States to try to get everybody to move on, move on. We've done everything. We've released the files. But then people are pushing back because there's so many missing spots, blind spots, and there's a fear that there's probably more involvements of the Trump administration regarding Trump or the people around Trump that he cares a lot about. And the more that the time goes, I think the more people are getting agitated, and it's getting very concerning. And the question I think that everybody is asking here, and me as well, I'm not trying to take any sides here, but where is this going to end? Where will it end, and what's going to be the results? Are we going to find out that this administration have been heavily compromised with child molesters, child abusers, and a level of corruption that should have people in jail? I mean, if you look at the investigations that is going right now, it seems to be that almost everyone, well, not everyone, but there's quite a lot of people high up in the Trump administration, people that are in a very close circle of trust. We're talking like the closest circle of trust, starting from Tom Barrack, which I think he is the Arab version of the Epstein kind of, and people are not talking about him, and all the way to the other dude, I forgot his name, we're going to talk about him right now, which seems to be very, very involved. I mean, he's being investigated right now as we speak. Now, if you see this image here, that's an interesting image. So the pilot also involved in the Epstein trafficking ring has been arrested in Brazil, and they're getting more and more people. Maxwell is right now.
Eu sei, você está com mandado de prisão, tá? Você sabe o motivo já?
And you're gonna hear
Não,
more stuff.
a gente está com mandado, a gente te acompanha lá só para poder liberar aqui, tá bom? Por favor.
I'm just feeling like it's a black hole. It's a black hole where it's just getting more and more things are coming out. In his care forever. Hello. Shaya Gadol, Makuweya Giver. Like, thank you so much, man. So I'm gonna show you some videos here. That's right. Look at that.
There were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason.
That makes
when Congressman Massey and I pointed this out to the Department of Justice, they acknowledged their mistake, and now they have revealed the identity of these 6 powerful men. These men are Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikoladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner, who was labeled as a co-conspirator by the FBI. Now, my question is, why did it take Thomas Massey and me going to the Justice Department to get these 6 men's identities to become public? And if we found 6 men that they were hiding in 2 hours, imagine how many men they are covering up for in those 3 million files.
And why?
What I saw that bothered me were the names of at least 6 men that have been redacted that are likely incriminated by their inclusion in these files. So that's the first thing that I saw. It took some digging to find them.
There are 6 men, some of them with their photographs, that have been redacted, and there's no explanation why those people were redacted.
We're watching this together.
At least one is a U.S. citizen, at least one is a foreigner, and the other 3 or 4 have names. I'm not sure if they're foreign or U.S. One is pretty high up in a foreign government.
And some are, one of the others is a pretty prominent individual. But I think that the point is that these 6 are just what we found in 2 hours of a review of the files that aren't redacted.
I mean, what we're after is the men who Jeffrey Epstein trafficked women to. We want those names published.
Congressman Massey and I went to the Department of Justice to read the unredacted Epstein files. We spent about 2 hours there, and we learned that 70 to 80% of the files are still redacted.
Wow.
In fact, there were six
lot.
wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. When Congressman Massey and I pointed this out to the Department of Justice, they acknowledged their mistake, and now they have revealed the identity of these six powerful men. These men are Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikoladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner.
So I want to move on to another man.
Can I answer
Donald
that,
Trump.
though?
I want to.
Now this one, guys, that's get heated. That one right there is what made me start wondering, where is this going to end? You know, I used to be an investigator in my previous job, and I used to do quite a lot of investigation. From before in the army, where I used to interrogate insurgents real time to get information from them, you know, so we can stop the bad guys and rescue the good guys, and all the way to actually criminal investigations. And one thing they teach you is when you see a lead, you don't drop it. And when you smell that someone is trying to hide something, you go there. You push that door and you stay there. You do not leave a single room uncleared. That is coming from the counterterrorism also to terminology. When you're clearing a building, you don't leave a single room uncleared, because either a hostage can be there or someone that will come and shoot you in the back. So you got to bring light to every dark corner. And boy, that interaction between these two have left me with, there's some very shady dark corners there that are being hidden from the public, from the American people first, because let's be honest, that's an American thing, but also it's affecting the entire world, I think.
Move on to another
Can I answer
question.
your question about protecting?
You answered the
Andrew?
question.
You're saying no. I love this.
I want to discuss another man, Donald Trump, who is all over the Epstein files. Like
Here she is.
former Prince. Here's the video. Like former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
That's a valid question. Doesn't matter if you're right or left. That's a valid question. You want to
This
know.
is so ridiculous.
That's our
And
answer.
that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files
I reclaim my time.
be
I got your
released.
answer. You said there's no
President
evidence.
Trump asked
Mr. Chairman, please
Trump
stop the
to
clock. My time.
sign
Stop the clock.
the legislation. This is
Time.
this
I'd like
is
to take my
ridiculous.
time.
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay.
Saying this is
I'm going to put up
not
another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is all on videotape. You said there's no evidence of crime. I'm showing you, here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said
How do
to
you know
Jeffrey
that,
on his
Wanda?
cell phone.
How
He
do
was
you
so
know that?
angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized his operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing
The
concludes.
gentleman has expired.
May I respond?
Yeah, I don't know how you respond. No one can.
I did not ask a question,
But
Mr.
he
Head.
doesn't
You're
want
allowed
to talk
to.
about
I did
the
not ask a
horrific
question.
crime in California. He does not want to talk about
I did not ask a
crime
question.
in his
She
state.
can't just
Madam
add
Attorney
lib
General.
stuff.
Going
I
after
did not ask a
Donald Trump.
question.
Meeting will be in order.
Former Prince Andrew, Donald Trump attended.
So someone here said that it's been proven that Donald Jr. Trump is not involved, and I'm asking again. I'm not taking sides here. I'm just genuinely asking an important question everyone should ask. How do you know? What do you mean proved? I haven't seen proof. I haven't barely seen a single proper investigation. I'm just seeing people saying, move on. We don't want to talk about it. And whenever they talk about it, they start cursing them and saying, yeah, you have a Donald Trump syndrome, deranged syndrome, and all kind of stuff. Like, I'm literally seeing live insult coming instead of real answers. And I think these are valid questions. Now, if your point is that Epstein said he wanted to destroy Trump, that is not a valid argument. He might have wanted to destroy Trump. Maybe he didn't like him. Maybe they had some beef between them. But that doesn't clear the question, which is the most important question right now. Was he aware of child trafficking and, sexual acts with minors, which is crazy. Anyone that was aware of something like that needs to report that immediately to the police. And if not, he's complicit. Like, literally, you have a little kid who's being right now kidnapped from his parent, and most horrific things. And we've read some things about sacrificing children, even, and crazy stuff. So anyone who knew about that happening and did not go and report immediately, I think should face the full wrath of justice. The bigger question is, was he there? And this allegation which is coming part of the file as well. So the file came out, and guys, I'm sorry, you can't handpick what fits your political narrative just because it helps you bash the other one. And I'm not saying that Donald Trump is here convicted in being part of that, but I'm just saying that it's definitely worth investigating. And what makes me worry, again, my spider senses as an investigator are tingling all over right now. Tom Barak is on the list, heavily involved, sending emails back and forth with Epstein, send me a picture of a child while he's in Turkey, where we know that's where a lot of the kids were kidnapped and taken to his island. Make me smile. Show me a picture of you and a child, make me smile. And then we see other very close members in his government, like I'm talking advisors, like the smallest circle, that are clearly in on this. And then you have his names there for thousands of times. And then you have allegations like that a girl is claiming that something happened to her by him. And then we know that, well, apparently what they're saying here is that her head got blown off. Again, don't shoot the messenger. I'm just bringing you right now things that I think that are important questions. Biden had 4 years. I think Biden was a catastrophe. It doesn't matter, guys. That doesn't matter who else did something crazy or stupid. Biden was one of the worst presidents and most damaging presidents. In general, this whole trio of Obama, Biden, and Kamala was a devastating leadership for the United States. And I would still, if I would travel back in time and I had to choose between Biden or Trump, most likely I would choose Trump, because I feel like he at least helped us get rid of the nuclear program of Iran, which was like a top priority of threatening planet Earth. Like, that was the night watch. Israel were the night watch trying to defend planet Earth from the Muslims who were coming. And Trump at least went and supported the night watch. So I respect him for that. It doesn't come as an intelligent argument that I should drop the Epstein charges against him because Biden was way worse. It doesn't. It's not. It's not an argument in my book, at least. And again, I don't want to disrespect, Wanda here. And I think you're bringing, points, and we just want to talk about it. But, that's at least how I see it. So let's keep watching, because, guys, it get wild.
Various parties with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to know, were there any underage girls at that party or at any party that Trump attended with Jeffrey Epstein?
This is so ridiculous, and that they are trying to deflect from all the great things Donald Trump has done. There is no evidence that Donald Trump has committed a crime. Everyone knows that. This has been the most transparent presidency. He's the one that asked that those files.
I'm reclaiming my time. I got your answer. You said there's no evidence.
Trump asked
Chairman, please stop the clock.
Stop the clock. The legislation. This is
Time.
This is
Time belongs to the gentleman from California.
Okay.
See you here.
I'm going to put up another document
We just
from
started here.
a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you
Patronizes operator of down interested.
This is a good one.
Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
So why are Republicans so interested in Bill and Hillary Clinton? It's because they're trying to distract from the fact that Donald Trump is in the Epstein files thousands and thousands of times. In those files, there's highly disturbing allegations of Donald Trump raping children, of Donald Trump threatening to kill children. So I encourage your press to go look at these allegations. And I'm highly disturbed that Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche just got the law wrong. Yesterday, he said, essentially, that it is not a crime to party with Jeffrey Epstein. Well, that's actually not correct. If Jeffrey Epstein was human trafficking minors for these sex parties, and you show up and patronize the establishment at that party, yes, you're guilty, because patronizing is part of the law, of the federal sex trafficking law. So Deputy General Todd Blanche just got that wrong, which maybe explains why they aren't investigating all these folks, including Donald Trump. He needs to read the law and investigate these people. He also needs to resign, not only for not knowing the law, but a massive, not only screw up, but the biggest privacy violation in history. They release a lot of pictures of minors unredacted, just violated the privacy of these girls. It is uncalled for what they did. The one thing that they could not do under this law was to invade the privacy of these women now, who were girls at the time, who were victims of sex trafficking. Also, he met with Ghislaine Maxwell, moved her to a minimum security prison, and then got a puppy for her. So for all those reasons, he's just got to leave the Department of Justice.
People in
Her, who got a puppy for her. So here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing, and I wanna bring that again. I'm not taking sides here. I'm trying to literally understand what is happening. We're having serious allegations that Donald Trump was aware of the sex trafficking, that he was involved in some acts, some people are saying, and in threatening, and etc. Now, this could be false. This could be true. What we do know is that Tom Barrack and other people around Donald Trump were also heavily involved in the Epstein. We also know that Bill Clinton, and on the left, we also know that Ehud Barak. There's so many people. None of them should make you say, it's the Democrats only, or it's the Republicans only. Every piece of garbage that was involved in child trafficking, or knew about it, or saw it, or took part, or even just heard it from the side of the door as some old man closed the door on a child and did whatever they did, and he was in the pool there having a cocktail. He knew what's happening. Every person. And if he did not go immediately to the police to report that, imagine if that was your daughter. Imagine if that was your child. Like, seriously, if that was my child, I would go man on fire, Denzel Washington on every single one of them. It's unheard of, the crimes that were happening against children, against minors. So what I'm saying is, you should not be in the defense. No, it's not my guy. He's not your guy. None of these politicians is your guy. Get that in your head, and that's very important. Do you think that any of these politicians would risk his neck for you? Most likely not. You should not never go blindly behind any politician. Again, I would, if you asked me a few months ago, or I don't know where the election, a year ago, undoubtedly, I would say I would have wished Donald Trump to be elected over Biden, Kamala, and these guys. I think they were way more damaging to planet Earth and to the Western civilization. But in the last few months, since the Epstein files have been going out, we're seeing more and more corrupt, very sinister behavior that is coming, that is tying and compromising this administration. And I tell you what, here, I'll give you a secret. It actually explained to me the weird ties that they have with the Arab world, the weird ties that they have with Saudi Arabia, and all go down to Syria. Everything that Donald Trump was doing up until now, I could understand. Even if I don't fully agree with it, most of the stuff I did when it comes to external and international policies, But I understood. I understood what he did in Venezuela. Actually, I supported that. Everybody, you should go and take Maduro down. I supported that one. I understand what he want to do with Greenland. I'm not saying I support it, but I understand. He wants it to America. So I understand from that aspect. But the only thing I did not understand is Syria. What the heck? Why would you betray the Kurds, the Christians, the Druze, and side with Al Qaeda? Why is Turkey all of a sudden have more leverage on you than Israel? Why is Saudi Arabia became a better advisor for what should happen in the Middle East than your partner Israel, which clearly Israel have way more aligned goals and values with the United States than any of these Muslim countries? But then you see, all right. A lot of these people were with him and others in the Epstein circle. A lot of these people have very strong ties, and if one of them fall, they all fall together. And all of a sudden, that started looking very, very suspicious to me. And the more that they push back right now, we don't want to talk about it, move on, I think and make it very suspicious. What happened there, and where will this
power, whether they're in government, whether they're in finance, whether they're in technology, if they have been implicated in the files in morally embarrassing ways and in ways that shock the conscience, should be held accountable. And it should be regardless of party.
So you're calling for Howard Lutnick to resign?
I believe that Lutnick, at the very least, needs to be brought before Congress. I think, based on the evidence, he should be out of the cabinet. But it's people say, "Oh, you're just a Democrat saying that." No, look at what he is, how much influence he had with Epstein, and he wasn't transparent about it. But again, it's not about Lutnick, and it's not about any particular person. In this country, we have to make a decision. Are we going to allow rich and powerful people who were friends and no problem doing business and showing up with a pedophile who was raping underage girls? Are we just going to allow them to skate? Or like other countries, are we going to have elite accountability?
So, watch this guy in the back laughing. Howard Lutnick.
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but
So, he denied.
I don't know. I could ask you that question.
There's actually a video of him where he's asked, because he was a neighbor of Epstein, by the way. So there's a video of him where he asked, about Epstein. He says, I met him only one time in the street, and I talked to him for a short moment. Then when I went back, I told my wife I would never want to talk to this guy. I want nothing to do with him. And this is what he said. Later on, he was found out to be all over the emails, and even traveled to his island with his children and others, best buddies. Whoa. So that is someone that is very close in the circle, like advisor for Donald Trump. Then you have Tom Barak and others. So that's what I mean. So now the secretary pressured to resign over Epstein, the commerce secretary. Let's see this. What does this says here? Lutnick continued interacting with Epstein through the last 218, including social meeting, planned island visit, and shared business dealing, despite claims cut ties in the mid-2000s. So many people there are lying. And then what they do is they always, same like Bill Gates, I've done it was a big mistake. It was a big mistake to do that. I look at it back and I regret meeting the guy. They're all you're not the victim. You would have never came and said it was a big mistake if you would have not been caught. There's a difference, guys. Someone who comes and admits out of nowhere, listen, I want to share something. It's a burden in my heart. I'm an elected official, and I want to tell you guys, I've done this and this in my past. If you want me to lead you, keep me in office. If not, I completely understand. I just want to be clear with you because I care about you. You're my nation. You're my people. I care. That is a leader that even if you've done some bad things in his past, depends what, I will still say, you know what? That honesty and integrity is so rare. I'm willing to keep him in office and forgive him because he showed something that others don't show. Now, none of them did that. None of them came clean by himself, only later when they were caught. Here, watch what comes after.
People about your interactions with Epstein? Did you have any financial involvement with Jeffrey Epstein?
Step back.
Why did you keep contact with Jeffrey Epstein after he pled guilty to sex crimes?
Come on. Give us some space.
What do you say to Democrats calling on for you to resign?
Give us some space.
Mr. Epstein, people of your level in the British government have been
Give us some space.
Will you resign?
Give us some space. Give us some space.
Why did you keep contact with Jeffrey Epstein after he pled guilty?
I look forward to testifying today.
Did you mischaracterize your relationship with him?
Some space. Give us some space.
Why did you?
Let's see that together. Let's see what is the third last line here. Oh. All right. We are landing in St. Thomas Saturday. Planning to head now to St. Bart Angelos on Monday. It's very small letters here. I'm trying to read it. At some point, where are you located with exact locations for my captain? The Sunday evening for dinner sounds good. I have another couple, Michelle and Mercy Lutman, with me on my boat, and each of us had 4 children. 2 16s, 2 14, 13, 12, 7 years old. Woohoo! Wow. Yeah, quite crazy. Quite crazy. And knowing what we know now, knowing what he probably know now, quite insane. Quite insane. Wow. Did they go? Intuitively, I find that we want to think that, yeah, they were planning to go and just have a family dinner, and he's just telling him the kids so he will know to behave well and not to do something crazy because the kids are coming. But knowing what we know, what they were doing with kids, and undoubtedly what this guy knew, makes you wonder. Makes you wonder, why was he mentioning the ages of the kids? Yeah, it's a good, valid point. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, KSP. KPS, Lucas, not KSP.
Fine today.
Did you mischaracterize your relationship with him?
Some space.
Why did you say you found him gross but still kept in contact with him?
Yeah.
What do you say to those who are calling for you to resign now? Are you willing to speak to Congress about this?
I'm going to speak to Congress right now.
Do you expect to be asked about Epstein? Why did you mischaracterize?
Just wanted to ask you, have you had a chance to review any of the unredacted files over at the DOJ, the Epstein files?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I just came from there.
What can you tell us?
70% of these files are still hidden.
And I mean, anything more that we don't know? I feel like that's pretty well established.
I feel like, I think the part that is just so disgusting is that so many people knew.
Did he have any ties to any intelligence agencies? We've established some in our reporting, but wanted to know based on the file.
I only had about a half hour, so I'm going to go back again tomorrow. Okay. So mostly today I was just trying to go through a couple documents that was particularly interested in finding out.
What were those?
One was related to whether or not Trump, had ever kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, as he claimed.
What'd you find?
It's not true.
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
I don't know if it's a lie or not. Again, I'm not there. I don't hear the talks, but just there's enough questions, guys. There is enough questions.
That need to be they're getting phone calls. A lot of these people didn't want to be known. And we know you touched the document because you redacted one name. And you redacted the lawyer's name, but you left the survivor's name there. The next document I want to show you, that was in the title, the victims' survivors' names, all right? The title of this one is Child Sex Trafficking, Co-Conspirators, fully redacted. And by the way, I'm going to unredact them here. Les Wexner is in this. Now, your your deputy attorney general said, oh, well, he appears hundreds of times in the files. But he doesn't appear in this file until I forced you to release it, where he's listed as a co-conspirator, not to tax evasion, but to child sex trafficking. Not to prostitution, not to money laundering, child sex trafficking. And then finally, what we have here is the third exhibit that I have is emblematic of the FD 302 release. These are the documents that we need, that you're holding on to and over-redacting because they have the names of the men who are implicated. How do we know? Because the survivors gave testimony to the FBI, and it's in there. And what happens when you go to the portal at the DOJ to look at what's behind this redaction? Another redaction. So we can't even see them. And then there's some of these files you've pulled down from the website that we will never see because we can't search the redactions. So I have several questions for you. Who's responsible? Are you able to track who in your organization made this massive failure and released the victims' names? Are you able to track who it was that obscured Les Wexner's name as a co-conspirator in an FBI document? Do you have that kind of accountability?
I believe Wexner's name was listed more than 4,000 times. I
already told you that. This is where he's listed as a co-conspirator.
Can I finish my answer? Come on, let me finish my answer. We corrected that within 40 minutes. He was already, you're acting like everybody's trying to cover up Wexner's name.
Reclaiming my time.
I'm going to answer this question.
Reclaiming my time.
Mr. Chairman. This is how this works.
Can I have my time?
Mr.
Chairman.
The gentlelady can give her answer. The time belongs to the gentleman from
All right, I'm reclaiming my time.
Can I give my answer?
So I'm going to put the language of the bill up on the screen.
Chairman, may I give my answer on that? It's a political
here's
joke, and I need to give my answer on that.
We'll let the Attorney General respond, and then the gentleman can move to the next question.
It's my time.
Within 40 minutes, you asked me a question. Within 40 minutes, Wexner's name was added back.
Within 40 minutes of me catching you red-handed.
There was one redaction out
Where
of
he's
over
listed as a co-conspirator.
4,700, and we invited you
Gentlemen,
in. This guy has Trump derangement syndrome. He needs to get, you're a failed politician.
Gentlemen,
You need to
I
get
want
on
you to
with
watch
this
the
matter.
video.
Mr. Chairman, please restore his time and remind the witness of the rules here.
There is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals.
Is that your position as well?
My position is any victim who comes forward, of course, we would love to hear from them. 1-800-CALL-FBI. Did you ask Merrick Garland that the last 4 years? Did you talk about Epstein?
I'm reclaiming my time. I'm glad you're asking about Merrick Garland.
You don't get to reclaim time
this
when
is
you don't-
bigger than
when you can't-
Watergate.
when I don't answer a question the
This
way you
goes
want.
over 4 administrations. You don't have to go back to Biden. Let's go back to Obama. Let's go back to George Bush. This cover-up spans decades, and you are responsible for this portion of it.
And that's
now,
where the
I want to know at what
Merrick-
point did the FBI and the
This is
DOJ
going back.
decide that Lex
Not
Wexner
only
was not a
back,
co-conspirator?
goes
Because our Epstein Files Transparency Act requires you, please put it back on the screen.
You know where I know that something is just stinking. Something is just smelly and stinking. Imagine the United States is a submarine, and you're the captain of that submarine or the crew. And then you hear that you have a mole, a Russian spy, a mole, someone who want to sabotage your submarine, jeopardize, and if left alone, he would literally destroy that country, that submarine. Like, that's level of corruption. And if a serious investigation is not opened immediately to go and find these people and stop them, like top priority, this becomes a top priority right now, to find the moles, find the traitors, find the compromised people and stop them, then you can easily understand and assume that the people who are in charge of investigating are part of the problem. Because without no doubt, anyone mentioned in the Epstein list should be investigated to the full. Anyone. Because what it implicates here is that there is a serious corruption that literally threatened the foundation of democracy, of freedom, showing that the elites can do whatever they want, all the way to child sacrifice and child sex trafficking, and stay unharmed, untouched. Like, there's almost no one yet who have been properly investigated. The only ones is Epstein and his partner, which one happened to die in a top security prison cell, and the other one right now, maybe she have a dead man switch button that if something happened to her, everything is gonna go on everyone, so no one dares to touch her, and like no one know how to do with her because the whole system is so corrupt. The whole system is so corrupt. Everybody from the right, from the left, from the religious, from the secular, from the scientists, from the high tech, from the business, from like the corruption from different religions. Muslims, Christians, Jews, like everyone is so involved. Everyone talking like there's a representative from every place. Like it's in another world, Epstein will get a Nobel Prize for diversity. Only the diversity that he had here is over child trafficking and terrible stuff. But it just brought people from all over the spectrum. So if you have all of a sudden people that are diehard protecting, instead of saying, yes, let's investigate, 100%. It's terrible. It's hard. It hurts us. But to clear the air, every single one of them need to be investigated. Then I would know, right, that system is healthy. But when you start seeing this resistance, where people are trying to make the other one fall and protect their own, and that goes both ways, right and left, then it shows you that this is a very bad place to be. That submarine right now is sinking, guys. Is sinking unless it cleans itself, and you should not leave a stone unturned until you find all the corruption in that government. And like, we're talking about crazy corruption. We're not just talking someone who's nepotism, who is, you know, calling his cousin to go and trade in the stock market because America is just about to make a deal about AIs. You know, we're not talking that kind of corruption. We're talking about like literally the most sinister, satanic stuff. Like, it's an ancient way of corruption we're talking about here. Kidnapping children and from Turkey and bringing them on airplanes because an earthquake happened and they don't find their parents, so they just go and kidnap these kids and take them so they can be molested or sacrificed for the rich and for the elites. Like, guys, that's crazy.
To release the internal decision about whether to prosecute him or not, and it's not in the files, and it's not in the files for any of these other men.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
May she answer?
And he's a hypocrite because he voted against the ban that we were talking about on deep fake AI porn. Only 2 people voted against it, and you were one of them, hypocrite.
The gentleman's time has expired.
Members of Congress demanded that we see the unredacted files. Did the world learn the name of this individual, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, the chairman and CEO of a company that had financial ties to President Trump's business and personal ties to Trump's advisor, Steve Bannon?
I love the
Second, the survivors were not similarly protected, also in violation of the law. Here is another email titled Epstein Victim List. We have blurred the names of the survivors for their protection, but your Department of Justice initially released this list of 32 survivors' names with only one name redacted, along with numerous files that disclose not only the names, the emails, and the addresses of survivors, but also nude photographs and even the identities of Jane Does who had been protected for decades until your department released their names. Survivors are now telling us that their families are finding out for the first time that they were trafficked by Epstein. In their words, quote, "This release does not provide closure. It feels like a deliberate attempt to intimidate survivors, punish those who came forward, and reinforce the same culture of secrecy that allowed Epstein's crimes to continue for decades."
You know, that's the thing. Imagine you're a 16-year-old girl, 14, who was taken to that island and you survived. But terrible, like ridiculous, terrible things have happened to you by the world's richest. We're talking about billionaires, people who literally invented Microsoft, people who are like control the media, and they're all together and you see them all dressed in these like outfits and masks, and they come and do things to children, and you're one of these kids, one of these girls, and then you survive, and then you go out, and then you hear that a friend of yours just got her head blown because she tried to report that. And you already like were a girl that was fragile, didn't have too much family, too much like support system, a father in your life or a mother that actually to protect you. And you manage to survive, and you go with that trauma, and you meet a guy, you marry, you have a child or two, your mother is sick right now, and you're trying to care for her. You have no money. And all of a sudden this comes out and people tell you go out and speak. These survivors are literally terrified. You can put yourself in her shoe. Like, she'll say, I barely have money to feed my family right now. I have this trauma I don't know how to deal with. I know that the FBI is in on this because some of their people were there in the island. I know that the government, like that guy who was around Trump, who was laughing behind him, he was there. He saw me. He did things to me. Like, I don't know what. And that other guy, Don Barak, he was there. He was the one that actually kidnapped that girl and helped bring her for Epstein and then send him a picture of him and his child. And Donald Trump, he was in some of these parties. So imagine you're that girl right now and you're called to go and testify. You're called to go and come and say, hey guys, that's what happened to me. I was there. That's what happened to me. Her friend just had her head blown off. She have no money. She know these guys have billions of dollars and they can literally squish her. They control the media. I think the only saint here is Elon Musk. Again, I mean, his name is also mentioned, but at least he wasn't on the island. But he came and he said that he's going to cover any legal fees of any victim or survivor that is going to go to court. That is some strong backing to give, because otherwise, I think these people will probably rather not go. I don't know if any of you ever grew up poor or in poverty or in need. Like, I don't know. People sometimes, I grew up poor. I remember not having food on our table. I remember not having electricity in our house. I remember not knowing if we're going to sleep in the street or not. Life is different when you have so much to lose, when you have no safety net to fall through, to hold you so you don't fall through it. So these people, these victims, are the most important thing in this investigation, and the focus should be on protecting them, on keeping them safe, on giving them the full support of the law. That is what the government should do. That is what your country should do. That is what democracy, modern countries. I'm not talking Russia right now, or Turkey, or Syria, or I don't know, Lebanon, or some of these shady countries. I'm not talking that. I'm talking right now a proper democratical country. That is what you should do. Empower your weakest and tell them that we are with you and we're fine and you have nothing to be afraid of. But it's a system seems to be more concerned in protecting the elites than actually caring for these little girls and these little boys. And that is what I mean. Something is just fishy, guys. And if I'm the only one seeing
to the survivors in the room.
Sorry, my channel.
If you are willing,
please stand. That's what I want to talk. I think that's important.
And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still, and if you are willing, crimes to continue for decades. To the survivors in the room, if you are willing, please stand. And if you are willing, please raise your hands if you have still not been able to meet with this Department of Justice.
Wow.
Please know for the record that every single survivor has raised their hand.
Guys, first time
Attorney General Bondi,
I just said that.
You apologized to the survivors in your opening statement for what they went through at the hands of Jeffrey Epstein. Will you turn to them now and apologize for what your Department of Justice has put them through with the absolutely unacceptable release of the Epstein files and their information?
But there's a clear cover-up.
Congresswoman, you sat before, Merrick Garland sat in this chair twice.
Attorney General Bondi,
No, can I finish my answer?
No, I'm going to reclaim my time because I asked you a specific question that I would like you to answer, which is, will you turn to the survivors? This is not about anybody that came before you. It is about you taking responsibility for your Department of Justice and the harm that it has done to the survivors who are standing right behind you and are waiting for you to turn to them and apologize for what your Department of Justice has done.
Members get to ask the questions, the witness gets to answer in the way they want to answer. The Attorney General can
That's
respond.
not accurate, Mr. Chairman.
Because she doesn't like the answer. So,
let her answer already.
Mr. Chairman,
why
I have asked
didn't she ask Merrick Garland this?
I am reclaiming my time, and when I
will
reclaim my
continue to
time,
answer.
it is
Mr. Chairman, the gentlelady is reclaiming her
I'm not going
time.
to get in the gutter for her theatrics.
The time belongs to the gentlelady.
Another document from a witness who called the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, because I believe you just lied under oath. There is ample evidence in the Epstein file.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just lied under oath, and this is on videotape. You said there's no evidence of crime. Over one, so angry, he was in a... Here is a witness statement who called into the FBI's Threat Operations Center. He drove Donald Trump around in a limo. He overheard what Donald Trump said to Jeffrey on his cell phone. He was so angry, he was going to stop the limo and hurt Donald Trump. And he met a girl who said she was raped by Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein. She later had her head blown off, and officers at the scene said that could not have been suicide. No one at the Department of Justice interviewed this witness. You need to interview this witness immediately. Epstein should rot in hell, so should the men who patronized this operation. And as we sit here today, there are over 1,000 sex trafficking victims, and you have not held a single man accountable. Shame on you. If you had any decency, you would resign right after this hearing concludes.
The gentleman has expired.
Why? Because Donald Trump, the Dow right now is over. The Dow is over $50,000. I don't know why you're laughing. You're a great stock trader, as I hear, Raskin. The Dow is over 50,000 right now. The S&P at almost 7,000. And the NASDAQ smashing records. Americans' 401ks and retirement savings are booming. That's what we should be talking about. We should be talking about making Americans safe. We should be talking about, what does a Dow have to do with anything? That's what they just asked. Are you kidding?
Mr. Jordan, Mr. Jordan.
Committee will be in order.
The Dow has shattered 50,000 for the first time. This is crazy. They said it couldn't be done in 4 years, yet President Trump has done it in 1 year. National median rents have fallen to a 4-year low thanks to Donald Trump. That's why they want to focus on Epstein and our most transparent president in the nation's history. The murder rate, as I said, has plummeted to a 125-year low thanks to Donald Trump.
I don't understand, what does that have to do with that? Maybe I'm the only one here, but why is she talking about the Dow and why is she talking about money? Like there's accusations here about sexual assault, child trafficking, crimes against, sexual crime against children. I'm going to use the word. I want this channel to be canceled. Human trafficking, torture videos, all related to people in that government and are implication also against the president. Why is she talking about how much money they made? I don't understand that. Like literally the Department of Justice, again, I'm not trying to take sides here, guys. I'm just literally trying to understand what is going on. I think it is important that we are never blinded by political affiliation. Just because we like this guy, we're going to let him do whatever he wants, or we're going to ignore stuff. There's like serious stuff have been said there. And maybe Donald Trump is innocent. Then prove it. Get it out there. Like, no one, if you are 100% innocent, which is the case. Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. When it comes to child trafficking, when it comes to sexual crimes against children who was kidnapped and then sacrificed, I don't know, torture videos of kids, there's no such thing as half innocent. There is either full innocent, like I have never tortured a child. I have never committed a sexual crime against a child. Never in my life. I have never consumed or done anything that is related to pedophilia or anything. Never. There's no halfway. There's no like I've done it a little bit and I stopped. And most people like me and you have never done these things. So if someone is allegedly was part of these things, either active or on the other side of the door, holding a champagne and cocktail, knowing what's going on in that door in the Epstein Island, and did not report and knew about it, he should not be in any office or in any position. He should be in jail. This is how clear it is. And if there is anything that actually shows that maybe he is not 100% innocent, because there's no 90% innocent. There's like 100%. When it comes to these things, there's 100%. It's like that joke. It's not a joke, but, sorry for my language, but I once had a guy, it was an officer on a ship. And he was an Italian guy living in America, married to an American guy, and he was a first officer on a ship. And one of his quartermaster was a guy from the Philippines. And they were sitting on a night shift. And that's when you have the craziest conversation sometimes, or the weirdest. And this guy just all of a sudden came and told him that back home, he one time got bored with his friend and he decided to give his friend, forgive my French, a blowjob. And then they did other acts, a guy and a guy. But then he came and said, but I'm not gay. I went back to my wife. Sorry, man, you're gay. Like literally, that's it. There's no halfway. If you do these things, and I'm not saying it's good or right, I'm just saying that's you cross that line. That's it. There's no turning back. So there's some things that you just can't be like half in and half out. And that was just an example, maybe not the best example. So let's get back to the story here. When it comes to these kind of crimes, there's no 90% innocent, 80%. We're talking about torturing of children and pedophilia and knowing or being part of crime against children and even threats to kill them. So if anything, the Department of Justice should be full on concentrated to investigate everyone so they can clear their champions if they want. I don't believe that he's part of this. We're going to clear his name here. Everything. Here's all the files out there, guys. Every single file. See? He's not in it. Unless you have a reason not to show all the files. Because it might put very strong, very powerful people behind bars. Someone even said it might collapse the whole system. Well, ladies and gentlemen, maybe that's a system that should collapse. If you have people in your system that are involved in child sacrifice, satanic rituals, torturing little kids, molesting and violating little kids who were kidnapped from their homes, and then threatening victims and eliminating witnesses and victims, then ladies and gentlemen, doesn't matter if you're right or left, Democrat or Republican, doesn't matter if you're mega or you're woke, you don't want that. You don't want that. That is just wrong all across the spectrum. Doesn't matter if you're Jewish, Christian, Muslim, atheist, if you're a fluffy, if you love watching penguins walk into the horizon in Alaska, or if you like doing things tied to a leather bed in your house with your partner, it doesn't matter. It's just clear as daylight. That is not the leaders and the government that you want. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to drop the mic here and finish this episode because I just find this mind-blowing that I even need to say that. But it seems to be that in today's atmosphere of politics, people have become so polarized that you don't care anymore about the facts. You care about how can you use that to hurt the other side. Let's see the Epstein list. Let's see if we can use it against the left. Let's see if we can use it against the right. Let's see if we can use it against Donald Trump, against Bill Clinton, against Biden and Obama. Let's see if we can use it against Israel or against Qatar, against the Arabs, the Muslims, or the Jews. So people are more focused about how can we use this to propel our hate and our want for the other side to bleed, to hurt, to fall, and to be humiliated. That is wrong, guys. That is what it calls political identity. And you never want to have political identity. You're a human being. You should not have any political identity. You should have a human identity yourself. I am me. And these are the values that I stand on. This is my faith. This is the ground. This is the Bible that I read. The Quran, the Tanakh. It doesn't matter what. Quran is kind of more made up. So let's stick with the Tanakh and the Old Testament, the New Testament, or any faith that you have. That is you. You should not have political identity. Bibi Netanyahu, Sarah Netanyahu, Donald Trump, Melania, Biden, Kamala, Obama. It doesn't matter any of these guys. What's the name of that numbskull in Canada? That really just a joke. Theodore. I don't know. You know, that Canadian Prime Minister guy. None of these guys should represent you. None of them as an identity. Your identity is yourself. And if they're actually public servants, they were elected to serve you. That's the difference between them and, let's say, Stalin or Putin, or I don't know, any dictator out there, or, Mohammed bin Salman, or some of these, Arab Muslim leaders that were not elected. So they actually believe that the purpose of other humans is to serve them. That is the difference when you live in democracy, that your leader are here to serve you. You're not there to serve them. You elected them. So they have decided to take that burden of leadership and to sacrifice some aspects of their life to come and give you the best service that they can. Political identity does the opposite. It makes you servant for them. So it doesn't matter, guys, again, right, left, center, have nothing to do. There's some things that are just moral values that we need to stand on. And when it comes to our children, my goodness, I am worried for America because I love America. I think it's the greatest country in the world. I think it's one of the most important countries in the world. Actually, it is the most important country in the world right now. And I'm saying that as someone who's an Israeli, someone who's living in Germany. America is the most important country in the world because if America fall, Western civilization fall with her. Europe have no way of holding Western civilization. They just like to hate America while America is actually holding them. If America fall down, Europe will become enslaved by Russia or China or by Muslims. They literally have no say. The rest of Western civilization right now is dependent on America to recover from this. And if America doesn't care about its children, then woe to us. What's going to be the next future of Western civilization? We know other societies don't care. We know Muslim societies usually don't care about these things. They actually promote in many cases these kind of behaviors against children. Not all, but many of them. We know that China have a very different view about human rights. Russia, very different views. We know that America, Western civilization, Europe should have and does in many places. They just don't defend themselves very well. They have no identity. But if they have proven right now that the system doesn't work, that the system is broken, that's what ignites civil unrest. That's what ignites violent revolutions, when the people start realizing that the system is a fraud and that the system is just here to keep the simple man at bay, behaving, while the elites do whatever they want. And it's not a conspiracy anymore. It's literally proven. And that is the test that America is being held right now. And that's why I'm saying it's more important than right and left. It's more important that I like this guy or not. He could be innocent, and I hope he is. It doesn't matter. You need to clear the system. You need to find the moles, find the traitors, find the compromised people in your system. Otherwise, this submarine is going down, guys. There's some systems that just can't allow such level of corruption. You can't, because it just get worse. Next election, and then the FBI have no teeth. If you look right now, the FBI in the United States, I'm talking from a political level, not from the agent. I've met some agents. I've worked with some of their agents. They're brilliant. I've literally worked with some FBI agents in my past. Brilliant people. I'm talking about the leadership. Have you seen that every time the Republicans or the Democrats, they take House, what they do the Red Wedding from Game of Thrones on the FBI. They literally go and just take down everyone and bring their own people. Why is that? Because they realize that if they control the organization that should be investigating them, Department of Justice, FBI, then they can get off with the worst kind of crimes and frauds and sinister behaviors and nepotism and you name it, shady deals that are happening around the Middle East with some Arab countries. I'm just throwing hints here that you would never thought. Who would have thought that America will side with Al-Qaeda? Who would have thought that? I'm talking proven that America will side with ISIS over its allies, the Kurds. Who would have thought, the one that actually defeated ISIS on their behalf, that America will come and just say, betray our partners and give ISIS? That is what's happening in Syria. I mean, can I be more clear about that? That is literally what's happening in Syria. They have ISIS patches. They just went and slaughtered the one that were the allies of America because America have left them. And then the first thing that they did is they went and they freed thousands of ISIS prisoners from their jails. And all of that is approved and supported by the American government. I'm not making this up, guys, by the current administration. So what is going on there? What kind of compromise? Something really weird. Now, I don't know if some people around just have a lot of leverage on that government, that administration, some dirty laundry that they're willing to go and hide these kind of things. But that is worth investigating. Don't you think? That is worth investigating. Otherwise, we are risking of losing one of the most important, if the most important country on the face of this earth. America World Police. Like it or not. If it wasn't for America, we'll have right now all of Europe speaking German. We'll have no Jews left. Israel won't exist. Because Nazi Germany would not have been defeated. or Russia would have taken everything, or China. Think about it. It's an important country. Whew. I went with a long speech here. It's 59 minutes and 42 seconds. So, ladies and gentlemen, we want to finish the episode. Don't forget to do the like, share, subscribe. Go and check my Patreon if you want to help support my channel. I promise you that I will use this $3 of once a month coffee for good use. Probably better use than some of these billionaires out there. So anyway, just want to thank you so much for sticking around. And for those of you who don't know, I'm right now in Oregon. I'm traveling in the US. I have a conference here that I came to attend. And I'm just visiting some friends. This is the house of my friend here. And we're going to be doing a lot of, I'm dressed like this because I went today to help them paint a flat and do some work on an apartment that he just bought. So long story short, in my vacations, I find myself helping my friends paint and crawl through different air shafts and tunnels. So some people go to the Caribbean, some people come and just spend some time with their friends and help them as well. But for me, this is the best vacation ever because I actually like and enjoy family and friends and quality time. So yeah, we will be doing some fun stuff. I'll keep you updated. You have some really cool guns. We're going to go to the forest. We're going to try them and go to a place that is off the grid in the woods and just spend some time there, and also join some important conferences that I want to join. Opa, new members. Woohoo! And hey, Mark Flesh, you were with me when I streamed myself gaming through the night, right? Was that you? When I stayed awake all night so I can fall asleep in the airplane, which was a mistake because then the flight got canceled and got canceled. So I ended up like not sleeping for 3 days. Yeah. So by the way, the flight got canceled and I had to stay in the snow, freezing snow in Berlin, and then went again the next day. Flight was canceled. I had to run between gates. So staying awake all night before your flight, guys, is a bad, ill-advised idea. Don't do it. And yeah, you were there with me when I did that gaming streaming. We played Ark Raiders together. So yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. And also welcome the new member to the family. And yeah, control what you can. Control sleeping. That's a very important stuff. All right. Good episode. See you around. Stay safe. Don't do anything stupid. In general, don't do anything that I would do.